This video is for the glut of men in their 20s, 30s, and 40s in New York City who are allergic to commitment or just relationships generally. And if that's not you, you're free to keep scrolling. Fellas, I don't have all the answers, but I want to pitch you on the idea of building a healthy long-term relationship with another human being in purely self-interested terms. So let's set aside for the moment that a relationship with someone else built on mutual knowledge and respect and love is one of life's great joys, and focus just on the fact that a healthy relationship will save your life, or at the very least extend it massively. Because I already knew that married guys tend to live longer than their single counterparts, but the stats from Scott Galloway's new book blew my mind. Married men live an average of 8 to 17 years longer than their single counterparts. That is an astonishing number and represents something like a 20% increase on the actual average life expectancy of a guy when looking at the high end. And it's no surprise when you realize that all-cause mortality is 32% higher for people who live alone. Now, there are lots of obvious reasons why married guys live better: lack of social isolation, better diet, better exercise, less messing around with substances. But my favorite explanation basically boils down to having someone else around to stop you from being an idiot. And my favorite illustration of that principle comes from this book from Sebastian Junger. Now, he had his pancreatic artery rupture just out of the blue in the middle of the day, and after experiencing some bad initial symptoms, starts to feel better because his body's going into compensatory shock when the EMTs arrive, to the point that he's like, I must just be dehydrated. And the male EMTs are like, bro, you're dehydrated. And they're all ready to just let him stay home. And he doesn't want to be like a wimp and go to the hospital. And his loving wife is like, what are you talking about, you moron? You were blind 2 minutes ago. You have got to go to the hospital. Now, hours of surgery later, he barely pulls through. And that's, of course, thanks to doctors and nurses and blood donors. But the initial catalyzing decision that saved his life was his wife saying, don't be a numbskull, take care of yourself. So if you're a guy or you know a guy who you'd like to keep a hold of this mortal coil just a little bit longer, I cannot recommend building a relationship with somebody enough. It might just save your life.